Hi everyone, my name is Aruni. This is the beginning of my series. Today's topic will be the beginning of my journey. So, the beginning of my journey actually started since 2018 when I finished my SPM and I signed up for university. And honestly speaking, it was not a good experience when I first joined in because obviously that time when I started studying, it was a very naive process where I just came out of all girls school, and surprisingly I started to mingle around, obviously having friends, obviously not so good, but what I wanted to say is that um it's something where it's a journey for everybody to learn. After finishing your studies as a SPM student or a higher after secondary education level and going into tertiary education level is definitely not an easy process because everything is so new for you and you have to work so hard in order to find people, to talk to people, to even get into studying. It has been a very traumatic experience for me, honestly speaking, but I know it's not the same for everybody. But obviously, with the generation that we live in now, with the society, with the people that we live around us, it's what motivates us, what drives us to the next level of, even when it comes to our studies or any part of our life, honestly. So like for me, when I first went into tertiary education level, it was pretty much very exhausting, very difficult because I couldn't adapt to the situation. I couldn't adapt to studying. I didn't know what drives me, what motivates me, what could possibly take me to the next level. All I know was I was going to be determined to study, and that's all. Honestly speaking, that's all that I knew when I first started my tertiary education level. But as I went along and I met friends, I spoke to people, I actually met the wrong people who did not guide me, who was a bad influence. I obviously wouldn't name anybody here, but it is not the right path. But when I did that mistake and I moved forward, was how everything after that changed for me. So, what eventually happened to me was that after when I did my tertiary education level studies, I started doing law at first. And what I realized was, obviously with the wrong people and everything, they moved up because after exams, though they were bad influence, for some reason, they studied, I think, and they leveled up. And I, on the other hand, thought that I was with the right people, they were the right influence for me, and parents didn't matter at all. Honestly speaking, I never ever thought that in 1 minute my parents' advice would take me to the next level of my tertiary education. But it proved me wrong as time passed by. So what I did was I actually quit. I quit during my A levels, and I was obviously a really deadbeat loser. Okay, so what my mom actually taught me was, instead of just staying at home, idling around, and not doing anything, what's best is go and work and do something and find money and do something that you can actually level up from there. That's what she taught me. As a person, as a girl, you shouldn't be just staying at home and waking up late and then not doing anything. Just wasting your time is not beneficial to you at all. So what I did was I went and worked. I worked in an F&B industry for almost two years or so, and then I I was obviously with me. It's not easy because my personal experiences in working has been also traumatic because I am not any sort of person. I've been discriminated 3/4 of my life. It was not a very good life experience at all, but I learned so many things from people. Knowing how people are throughout my entire life, it has changed me. So when I worked in the F&B industry, I worked in baking, I worked in restaurants, I eventually found good people who would support me despite my race, my religion, my skin color. There were also many people who would put knives behind my back and just stab me. They were just waiting for the right moment always to do that. And I always knew it because of how of a good person. When you are a good person in life, that's what happens to you. There are plenty of knives behind your back, and there'll be more in the future. So people are just envious that you could do a good job, you could motivate yourself, you have a good drive, you have a good passion that you are into. Nobody actually wants you to succeed in your life other than your parents. If you have good parents and they teach you the right life lessons, I'm telling you one thing, it will help you even in your education, in your life, in your marriage, in anything. Okay? So what happened to me was I worked in the F&B industry, and after that, somehow, because though I said yes, I quit my A levels, but I did not quit 100%. So what I did was I failed the papers, I reset again for the papers, and I don't know how, okay, for some freaking reason, I got a A for a literature English paper, okay? A levels is not the easiest paper in the world. It is very, very difficult, especially you have to know the quotes, you have to know everything when it comes to literature, okay? And being a person who loved literature, that's how I loved literature, because I had a really good guidance from my lecturer. She helped me a lot. I went one to one with her. She guided me so much until when I went for the exam, I did not expect to do that well. Okay, that's how I fell in love with literature after knowing how literature was. And my father, when he saw my grades, he eventually said, Irony, you can't be working in F&B every day. You must go and study. Okay, so obviously, I win. And I just listened to both my parents' advice. I went and registered myself in the close by university in Malaysia, which is Segi University in Kota Damansara. And from there, I don't know how, okay? I went into the university with one mindset, one direction of life, okay? Which is the straight path. When you have the straight path, you wouldn't astray because you wouldn't listen to the wrong people, you wouldn't have the wrong drive, you wouldn't have the wrong passion after that. So my dad registered me, and obviously we went together, we registered, and I got into English and Public Relations. And that's the course that I'm doing until today. Oh yeah, just so you know, I'm actually a third year, second semester student where I'm doing my internship right now. I'm on the edges of finishing my studies and graduating very, very soon. So, how did my life start from Segi University? Well, you must be thinking that what made a student like this, who was just a deadbeat loser in the previous university, did not do so well, failed, quitted, and eventually just worked in some F&B restaurants in Malaysia. What made her so good? What made her passionate? What made her feel the drive of going through in life? Well, I'm gonna answer that questions today. So, that's a long story. What actually made me to feel the drive was, obviously, like I said earlier, was my parents is the first thing, and also believing in your religion. Always believe in your religion. Have the faith. If without the faith, if you are thinking, okay, you know what, screw faith, screw religion, I'm not going to pray, I'm not going to do anything, I'm going to just score in life. No, that's not how it works. You have to have faith. You need to have faith in your religion. You need to have faith in your parents. That if they're doing good for you, you take that life lessons that they have taught you. The wrong ones, always keep it aside. Do not take the wrong advice. You have brains, you have a mindset, you think whether what they're teaching you is the right thing or not. If it sounds right and you put into practice for one day and you say, you know what, this thing is not working for me, then it's not working for you. But if that thing happens to work for you and eventually one day the thing proves them right, well, it's for you then, okay? I'm not lying. This is the truth. This is coming from a student who achieved her goals until today, you know? So, yeah. So have these two with you. And I'm telling you one thing, always give back to the society. That's the third thing. When you give back to the society, it doesn't matter to the elderly, to the poor, to the children, to anybody. You will see a lot of changes in your life eventually. So what I did was, when I joined Segi, is that I told myself, okay, you know what? I'm going to be determined as hell. I am going to work my ass off, okay? I'm going to study so freaking hard every day and get scholarship, okay? Get scholarship. Get my PTPTN waived. If you're in Malaysia, you know what's PTPTN. It's basically a fund for you to, by the government, so you can take a loan and then you can pay off once you finish your studies. So I was hoping to get a PTPTN really good amount of wave after I graduate, and I also wanted to get first class honors when I graduate one day. That was the goal that I set for me since day one, when I started my journey in Segi. And I did my foundation. My foundation was free. When you join Segi, foundation is free for you if you're a local student. So when I went there, by the way, Segi did not sponsor me to say any of this. I'm just telling you my journey as a personal person, okay? It's a personal experience. So when I joined Segi, I had all these things in my head, this motivation for me. And I started my studies, okay? No friends, no more bad influence. Lecturers were the only friends I would make. I would talk to the lecturers if I don't know anything. If I needed any clarifications, lecturers. Your friends, we always say that friends will be behind our backs when we need clarifications. No, you're wrong. Friends are only there if they need help from you. But when you need help from them, they're not there. It is 100% guaranteed by me that unless you have had a friend who have stayed with you for so many over years, and you think that's the only friend that would stay with you until today, okay, you can trust that person. But as time passes by, you see the person changing, you get out of their life. Not you wait until they initiate the get out thing. You get out from their life and you show them how you can improve in your life and show it to them, and it will literally slap their face with it. Do not slap their face literally, yeah? Okay? So, what I did was, that's all I did. Talk to the lecturers when you need help. When you need guidance, like, when you feel like you can't do it, go to your parents. Always pray and keep the faith that you have in any religion that you have. You will succeed. So you do that. As for me, I did that in my foundation years. Whatever I don't know, every semester, even how difficult the subject is, do not think, okay, you know what, the subject is so difficult, I hate this subject, I'm not gonna do this, I'm gonna fail in this subject. Don't ever think about that. Always think, you know what, I have done, what's done is done. What's next is I'm gonna focus on. So if you have this thought process, you can achieve. So what I did was, as time folded, every semester in my foundation years, guess what? I got 3.75 GPAs every freaking semester. Okay? And I can see myself improving, and I did not give up. Giving up is the last option that you would have always. So, in my last semester of my foundation, I got a freaking 4 flat. Okay? 4 flat means all A's, no B's, no C's. Okay? Got all A's, and I got a scholarship of my dreams. I got Higher Achievers Scholarship for my degree. And on top of that, I have 75% loan from the government, from PTPT and government loan. Okay? And from that day, I thought to myself, I am not going to be a burden to my parents. I am not going to give up on my studies. I am going to achieve this by hook or by crook and get a first class honors again. Again, I made these goals. Okay? And every month and every week, I would have a to-do list that I would write whatever assignment that I have. Like from the beginning of the semesters, I would write everything. So I would write and write and write, and everything I'm not giving you notes taking tips here or how to set your goals and whatsoever now, because you will see that eventually in my other series. I'm just telling you is always take your notes down. Okay? So when I was doing it, I never ever said, I'm lazy. You know what? Today I'm not going to do any note taking. I am not going to listen to the lecturer. I'm going to skip class. I am going to feel like I'm the most laziest person. I should sleep. I should be a bum at home. I shouldn't be working. I shouldn't do anything, basically. I never had that thought in my head. To be a successful student, you need to always achieve. So in order to achieve that goal, you need to always work very, very hard. Very, very, very hard does not mean, oh, okay, you know what? I'm going to put my 100% best. And then I'm going to take the book out, I'm going to read. But always work smart as well. Balance your time right. Know your priorities always. For me, I've always known my priorities. That's why it made it easier for me. But what made me today to shape me as a student in a whole was the day one motivation that I had for myself. Everything actually fell into place in my first semester of my degree. I got a 3.89 GPA for that semester. But as time passed by, it was a very, very sad situation for me. Every semester that because every semester you have to have the determination, you have to have that motivation to push you through the entire semester. You can't afford to fall. And when I have my higher achievers scholarship, it was definitely not easy, because every semester I plan to get a 3.75 and above. If I don't, I have to eventually pay up to the university. Obviously, it's not easy because I plan to not ever burden my parents with financial situation ever. I don't want to put my parents into that situation. As a student, as a bright student, knowing your worth, knowing how well you can study, you never want to put your parents into that situation. So what I went through, I had no choice, which was every semester, starting from my first year, second semesters, I was not actually able to achieve my 3.75 because of my parents' situation. Every semester, my parents would get sick. It's either my mother or my father would go into emergency in the hospital, and it's not easy being the only child. I was the only child I'm the only child in the family, so it was never easy for me. But that did not keep me away from keeping my standards high, which was keeping a pointer of 3 for every semester. I did not, even though how much of pain, how much of pressure I went through every semester, I did not give up. I did not say, you know what, I think my parents are going through all these things, I should quit. Or my parents are having this situation, so I feel like I should just not even bother to study hard. No. Never in my degree I got a pointer of 2 or a pointer of 1. I've always gotten a pointer of 3 and above. That shows how much I have worked hard. Even though the circumstances that I went through was unfair for me, but I learned a very, very big lesson. When you have responsibilities, you have pressure, you have so many things running in your head, you never would think at that point of your life that you could actually show a good example for the next generation of students. You never would think that, you know what, there are other people who relies on you. There are people who feel that you are worthy of the next of studying. You never would think that, you know what, my life is just as beautiful. My life would not be as crumbly as it is if I just did not think of the majority of the people that thought bad about me. I have to always think. This is what the closest people around me, especially my parents, my lecturers in the university, knowing how bright of a student I am, they are willing to go to the next extent to motivate me to say, you know what, Aruni, your journey is left a little bit more. No matter what you go through every semester, we are there by your side. We are there to guide you. That's why I said from the beginning was your parents, your lecturers, your teachers, your faith is the most important thing. When you have these 4 support or these 3 supports, you would never fail in life. Not your friends would be there by your side. They want you failed. But bear in mind, when you have this support system by your side, these people that you so-called think is your friends, your so-called friends, will come to you at that point and say, you know what, I think, right, I want to be like you. Or, I want to know, can I get some advice from you? Like, I've got no motivation. Can you help me? Like, can you guide me in my studies? That's when you feel in their lives. Do not ever have hatred for them. Like, for me, as much as I have regretted, I take 100% accountability for my actions. Because no matter the people who influence you, you have your right brain to think always whether what I'm doing is the right thing or not. So you influence yourself. When that person is influencing you, you influence yourself back and you say, you know what? This is not the right thing for me. I'm not going to do this. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of everything that I'm doing. Waste of money, waste of time, waste of breath of talking to that person. I would rather sit here, open my book, study, or do something that I love, or I could actually gain experience with. That's what drives you and motivates you. So, my support systems are the ones that helped me, because now I'm in my peak stage. Not forgetting this. I'm obviously not going to deny this. I have thought a few times to quit my studies when I have financial problems at home, and I thought that I really, really cannot take it anymore. But again, I go back to the support systems. They guided me. They pushed me. They are the ones who said, you are the next generation motivator. You are the next generation helper. If you do not guide them, who else will? A person like you who have that mindset is the one who's able to do it. So, it's not me who say that I'm a good motivation helper or whatsoever. But I always come up with quotes, because I know what I go through in life. When a person goes through and have seen so much in life, they build quotes that nobody's business. But obviously, that quotes, you have to work on that quotes to prove it that it works. Do not just come out with quotes and say, you know what, I'm just idling around and I'm being a bum at home, and then I come up with these quotes because I have no other work to do. No, that's not how it works at all. How it works is that you, as a person, if you work smart, you work hard, you work passionately, you work like there's just rainbows in the sky and you can go limitless. That's the kind of quotes that you come up with. You prove yourself to the world. You prove yourself to the society. You prove yourself to your parents. You prove yourself to everybody around you. And show them what you're worth. How good you are. You're not perfect. I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect. We are all learning as we get older. We all have life experiences, especially our generation, our next generation of children. We all have sort of life experiences that we have dealt with ever since we were young. But it's all up to you to determine whether you can achieve that goal and prove to the people who said wrong or ever thought you wrong to be the next good person. Being a good person is what makes you a good student, and eventually makes you to be a good citizen of the country. So, always work hard and you will see the changes in your life. Do not ever forget where you come from, where you belong, and you will see marvelous changes. So I'll see you in the next series as it comes. I'll see you again. Signing off, Aruni.